What is going on? Got another video coming at you today. We're talking about home gym or home shed lifting. I have a home shed. I used to have kind of a home gym setup. Today I want to talk about if you're thinking of going down that route, what are some things to ponder a little bit beforehand. First of all, I highly recommend it. It's absolute laser focus. If you're okay lifting on your own, if you're somebody that kind of draws a lot of energy from seeing people around you and whatnot, then that's a whole different ballgame. But for myself, it's awesome. I keep the focus. It's kind of like my quiet time, and I love it. So, first thing to think about is space. And when we're looking for sheds, I think there was one that was like a 12 by 16, which was a little bigger, and then the one we settled on was 10 by 16, and it's enough space. On the inside it's slightly smaller than that, like the outside perimeter is 10 by 16. On the inside it's more than enough space. If you have maybe 3 people in there or 4 people in there, it's a little more challenging, but 90% of the time it's just myself, so it's totally fine. I could fit all the equipment I need. So definitely space first of all, and then also location, as in like where's it going to go in your yard. It's going to be close to your house, it's going to be far away from your house. Also probably like town regulations. In our town, anything under 200 square feet, you don't have to worry about. Anything over that, then you have to talk to the town, I believe, for a permit. So something to think about for yourself too, what your town regulations are, and if they allow a building, because they literally, like the place we bought it from, brings it on a big truck and they drop it off at your yard. They did a foundation too, which another thing to think about too. We had the option of obviously building it ourselves, but lumber prices are too high and have to actually physically build it, which would have taken some time, which would have meant no lifting during that time. And then also the foundation. I thought about doing the foundation myself, but the time and effort to load the gravel and also to get it absolutely perfect, the price that they were going to charge me to create the foundation was not that bad. A lot of it was just materials, so we went the route of having the foundation done. So size and then foundation, and then making sure that you can actually like have it put in your yard without running into issues with your town. Distance from the house, not really a huge deal here, other than if you wanted to get your shed wired, I guess, with electricity. All right, so yeah, like I was saying, wiring the shed, obviously it's slightly more money the farther away you go, because just more material. I ended up digging the trench myself for the electrician because it was 18 inches or 2 feet deep, and it was about 60, 70 feet. So it was a good workout for sure. I mean, it took me, I don't know, 6 or 8 hours, a good amount of time. One of my friends lent me like a post hole digger, and for whatever reason, because you're trying to create just a vertical shaft downwards, basically, you don't want to be digging this massive pit, with a shovel. That's going to take you a long time just with the style, but with a post hole digger, it was actually very, very speedy compared to what I thought it would be. So big shout out to Brian for lending me the post hole digger there. Sped up the process quite a bit. Once I got the shed wired, it was so much easier. For a while, I was like every day I would run an extension cord out there and plug in a light. Not the worst thing in the world, but if you have the funds to get it done by a professional licensed electrician and just have it all squared away so you don't have to worry about it, I don't know, I think that's the way to go. It's actually my wife convinced me to do it, because she kept seeing me like run the extension cord out. She was like, what are you doing? Like, we should just get this done. So big shout out to her for encouraging me to get that done. Distance from the floor. So the floor, and I checked a bunch of times, like I must have asked 2 or 3 times the people I bought it from, and it's a great shed, but I said, how much can the floor handle? Like, how much weight can I place down on it? And they said, oh, it can handle like 2,000 feet, 2,000 pounds, and I think they meant like distributed over the entire floor. Obviously not like 2,000 pounds on like a square foot or something like that, but I opted to get some force mats. Basically, it's like 3/4 of an inch thick rubber to add an extra layer. I still run into issues occasionally with a deadlift where it'll land slightly wrong or land a little bit too quickly on the ground, and it'll push the plywood down a little bit. So that's something where I think if I was going to do it again, I would probably put a whole another layer of plywood over the floor, maybe even two, just to get a little more solid of a setup. It's really only at the deadlift where I've run into issues. I want to say maybe once or twice I placed down a dumbbell, and it's, you know, pushed the floor in a little bit, but I would say I would definitely do that differently. I would add some more flooring myself. I'm having great luck with the mic there. I guess it needs a little more of a battery charge. My bad. Any rate, then thinking about ceiling, I went with a pool shed style shed because it had a little bit more elevated of a ceiling, which I think makes a really big difference. I have just enough clearance overhead, you know, assuming you're not 7 feet tall or something. Having like an 8-foot, 9-foot height at the top is going to give you enough room. The only time I run into issues sometimes is if I'm slightly too far over the side, because one side, it kind of goes like this, and one side is higher than the other. So on the right side, if I'm in the gym facing towards the house, if I'm pressing overhead, the right side, sometimes it will get a little close to hitting. But it's not a huge deal as long as I'm aware of it and I shift over slightly. Good to go, you know, no issues there. Height, temperature inside, I mean, I'm kind of a fan of experiencing the seasons a little bit. So like when it gets warm, you know, you gotta, you know, hydrate more. When it gets cold, you gotta layer up more. Like, I don't really mind that. For some people, and that's not me trying to sound tough. I mean, if you've been watching the channel, you know that I don't really, like, I'm not skipping workouts when it gets cold or anything like that. You know, I'm still getting it done. I feel like once I get a set or two in, I warm up. It's no big deal. That's just me personally, though. I do have a heater someone gave me, but I don't really use it too often because, again, once I do a set or two, it's not, you know, a big deal at all. Body warms up pretty quickly. But I suppose you could insulate it. I was thinking about going the route of insulating it, but again, the prices of stuff and the lumber that it would take, it was just going to cost too much. Even with my friend giving me like an absolute steal of a deal and basically not charging me for labor, it was still, we had just done the electrician and, you know, the money just wasn't there to do it. Oh, burner just turned on. Hopefully that doesn't crush the audio. Yeah, so heating, you know, depends on how much you care about that. You could do AC too. If you hydrate, if you layer up, you're gonna be fine. Just my opinion though. You gotta go your own route. Temperature inside. The other thing about with the insulating, that we put like nice walls over it, make it all like finished basically inside. I was just concerned that over time I would be leaning things against the walls without really thinking about it, because I do that all the time with the plates and just leaving marks constantly, whereas now I'm not worried about that because it's in an unfinished state inside. So leaning, you know, barbells and things like that against the walls all the time, not concerned at all. So I opted for the unfinished route. Outfitting it, this, I recommend people go slow, you know, especially if you just burnt a bunch of money on getting the gym and getting the electrician, getting everything wired and getting it all set up. Just taking your time and slowly adding things, I feel like, is the way to go. You know, I started out with obviously a barbell, some dumbbells. I had a good amount from my previous setup. But way back in February of 2020, which was a tumultuous time, as it were, in the world, I kind of sensed that, you know, I heard a rumor that gyms were shutting down, and I said, no go, I gotta keep lifting. So actually, the week before everything shut down, I went out and bought a barbell and about 255 pounds of plates, and then I bought another 255 pounds of plates, and then got a pull-up bar, and that was all I needed. Eventually, I got some dumbbells, and I don't think we got anything else. It was actually a while before I got the good pull-up setup. For a while, I was just doing pull-ups on a door frame on a pull-up bar, which I do not recommend. I was doing weighted pull-ups, not smart, but I had no other option, and I didn't want to lose, you know, a ton of strength in the back, so that was what I was doing. But you know, just taking your time, getting stuff as you can, like, you'll get there. You know, getting stuff used, 100% the way to go. Getting brand new stuff, I've done that a couple times, like with just stuff I literally couldn't find online, like the axle, the 2-inch axle, the log, farmer carries. That's pretty much it as far as brand new stuff. And the pull-up bar. I wanted the pull-up setup to be like no issues at all, straight from the factory. I built it myself, make sure all the screws and everything are good. having the dumbbell and barbell racks, again, big shout out to Brian for setting up the farm to carry racks. Just when you're limited on space, taking stuff off the walls makes a huge difference. So highly recommend that. It just makes the gym feel a little smaller, cleans it up a bit, especially as you accrue more and more equipment. And getting a gym or shed that has windows. Some of the sheds that were available didn't have any windows, and I think they all had locks on the doors. Obviously that's smart. But some of them didn't have windows, and the windows just nice. Going with a double door, highly recommend that. Also, if you're looking at different options, the double door in the summer really makes it nice and feel open. You know, you get some airflow. Other than that, though, I mean, I think that pretty much covers everything. Yeah, I think I worked through everything here. So drop a comment if you have a home gym. What are some crucial things you think someone needs to consider before going down the route of setting up their own home gym? If you like the content, drop a thumbs up, comment, whatever you want, and subscribe. All right, till next time.